Here we are for another Texas Longhorn Association swim meet in beautiful Austin, Texas, where multiple teams gather to test their skills against some of the best in Austin. And moving on to the 100-yard freestyle, Austin Sanchez in lane 5. Preparing for hopefully another opportunity to drop time. Hopefully another opportunity for him to show his skill set here. Watching as he warms up, gets himself ready. Austin is starting off with a seed time of 1:10.80. And they're on the blocks. Getting ready. The dive here is going to be very, very important. It's their opportunity to gain the most speed, and Austin is off to a great start already, starting off strong. Should have stayed in a little bit longer, though. You'll notice that some of the higher levels actually stay under the water a little bit longer. This flip turn is going to be critical, and you can see there he's been working on that flip turn a lot better than we've seen in some of the other races. He's running a bit behind time. From a wider angle, you can see he's absolutely being dominated by lane 4, but staying strong and building a gain on lane 6 as he moves along. And Austin staying very strong here, rounding up. Beautiful flip turn. He's got one more flip turn, and on his way back, it's 400 yards here means two trips full length of the pool. So this is his last trip here. Watching him for this flip turn, we've seen a lot of stronger consistency, but he needs to stay under the water a little bit longer. I think that's going to be the determination here, is how long can he stay under the water. And you can see that lane 4 has a decisive lead. And Austin finishing strong. Good race overall, good form. We could have seen some corrections, but not bad overall. Let's see what the time for this is. And Austin finishes out with a 1:12. That's going to be adding time there. Not one of his best races. And we're getting ready to move on. 100-yard butterfly. The 100-yard butterfly, the butterfly itself is actually a really difficult swim technique to master. It involves a lot of coordination and some weird movements with your legs. And you're going to see here, it starts off just like the freestyle. And the same principles apply. Staying under the water here is extremely important. Let's see how Austin does. Again, in lane 5. A much better dive, but staying in the water that long, much longer, is going to be beneficial, and you can see the effect that has as we switch to the wider angle. And we're not going to see a flip turn on the butterfly because the flip turns don't exist for this stroke, so it's really just touch the wall and move on. Austin staying strong, and you can see the coordination. See how his back and his legs need to move and the kicks need to be in sync there. That is a really hard skill for most kids to master, and that flip turn is also the turn right there is very, very important. Not a flip turn, but very, very important for this swim meet. And Austin is starting off this race with a seed time of 1:55. Let's see how he does here. And coming through his last one, looks like he's running out of gas here a little bit. Definitely slowing down quite a bit. Butterfly is not one of Austin's stronger swims either. It's not a stroke that he excels at, but good to see him digging in deep here and pushing it through to the end. Almost to the finish line here as he comes across, finishing it off strong. And let's see what the score is. Good to see him getting some. You can see how winded he is here. Let's see what the judges gave him for time. Oh, and that's going to look like a disqualification for Austin on that stroke. Not entirely sure what went wrong there, but we'll have to take a look at the video and see. Moving on to day 2 and the 100-yard breaststroke. Breaststroke has actually been one of Austin's stronger strokes. He's starting off in lane 7. It's a stroke where we've seen a lot of improvement from Austin almost every single swim meet. He's starting off with a seed time of 1:34.02. Let's see if day 2 he can have a much better swim than he did in day 1. We're looking for him to drop time. It's important for him to reduce his time and get much better. Once again, the breaststroke is going to start off just like the freestyle and just like the butterfly. Kids are going to be diving in. That dive and staying under the water is going to be very crucial. And you can see how that other swimmer in lane 6 was stayed under just longer and got a much stronger lead on Austin. Now Austin was able to recover here. Beautiful stroke that we're seeing on the breaststroke. It's important that he stretches out, moves the water. There's a turn that he has to do right underneath it. You can see his arms turning underneath him. So far, very strong technique. The legs are moving properly. The kicks look strong. Definitely lagging in comparison to this heat he's in. If you're not familiar with swim meets, the heats are organized based off of times, and depending on the spread that they have, sometimes you can have a good mix of times. Some really fast times with some really slow times, even within the same heat. Although the administrators try really hard to avoid that. It looks like in this case, the mix was pretty diverse. You have some very strong swimmers mixed with some slow swimmers. So even though Austin could swim a very good race and drop time, it doesn't mean that he's going to win the heat. Just depending on how that spread turns out. Austin, once again, second closest to the screen there in lane 7. Coming up on his last leg of this race here. Looking strong. He's coming together. That technique is coming together. He's pushing hard all the way to the wall. Beautiful swim by Austin. And let's see where he winds up time-wise. And there we are. Austin actually dropped time. He's finished off with a 1:32.59 drop of 1.43. Beautiful swim by Austin. Moving on to our last event for Austin of this swim meet, and that's going to be the 100-yard backstroke. In years past, the backstroke has actually been one of the stronger strokes for Austin. Again in lane 7. Now, backstroke starts off much differently than the other strokes. He doesn't start off with a dive. Instead, he starts off in the water, diving backwards, and starts the backstroke off that way. Again, the same principles apply. Staying under the water as long as possible with a strong, what they call dolphin kick, is extremely important. That dolphin kick is going to give him the opportunity to conserve energy and move through the water efficiently before he pops up for air. What they typically do is they're waiting on the previous heat to finish before they jump in the water. In other events, for other strokes, typically the kids that finish the heat beforehand will stay in the water, and the kids that are starting the next event will jump in and then they'll get out. But for backstroke, that's not possible. What they'll do is they'll get out of the water first, then the other kids will jump in and start their event. And that seems to be what they're doing here. Let's look at the times here. Austin is starting off the backstroke with a seed time of 1:32.77. That's his seed time. We'll see if he can drop time in this event as well, in this stroke as well, giving him an opportunity to close out the swim meet with a strong swim. And the kids are in the water. Zooming in on Austin. Once again, this takeoff, this dive here is going to be super important. That crunch up, that's where they get their power. That's where they get their springing power. Now they can leap from the water backwards and dive in. You see there, Austin doesn't stay in the water hardly at all. And that's definitely going to hurt him as things go on. Now the trick here is for the swimmers to keep their heads up, not down, up, looking straight at the ceiling. And there you go, Austin doing a good job of that, keeping his arms flailing. At the younger levels, you'll see kids bounce in between the lanes. And what's happening there is that one arm is not doing the work. But Austin, you can see him staying steady in the middle. It makes it look effortless, but what's happening here is both arms are giving the same amount of power. In respect, if you've ever rowed a boat, it's very similar to rowing a boat in the sense that you have to keep both oars paddling in the same intensity in the same direction. Otherwise, the boat will start to turn. Same concept here. Austin staying strong, keeping up with the majority of the pack here. Swimming really strong. Once again, looks like he's in a very tough heat, so there's some very strong swimmers in this heat. And he's keeping strong. There is a flip turn for backstroke. You'll see it here. Watch him do that flip turn. That flip turn, again, very, very critical for him to do well here. Staying under the water there is also important, gives you the power, and you'll see some of the stronger swimmers do that really well. This is his last leg as he closes in. Let's see what time he gets here. Looks like he's finishing very strong. Great swim for Austin there. Let's see what the time is for this stroke. Austin looking very confident in the water today. A little bit winded. And there's the time. 1:31.24. Austin dropping 1.53.